So here at Pro Soccer Talk, we're going to carry on with ranking our top 5 players from week 1. You can find the full list of 20 players in our Premier League player power rankings that I've already put up on the site. So this is my top 5. We're going to go with that. I'm going to list 5 to 1. Then I'm going to pause and let Nick and Andy rip it to absolute shreds, as I know that they will. So I've gone number 5 for Gabriel from Arsenal. I think aside from that early miscommunication mistake, he scored on his debut, was dominant. And he could be that centre-back that Arsenal really have needed for a long, long time now. Speaking to Lee Dixon a lot over here when I'm travelling around stadiums. He has his head in his hands a lot when he's looking at the Arsenal defending. But Gabriel is a good defender, but can also play, and that's very important under Arteta. So he's at number 5. Raul Jimenez, Mexico's star striker, at number 4. Scored a great goal, hit the post, is absolutely lethal. I'm a bit surprised he stayed at Wolves, considering some of the teams he was linked with over the summer. But Jimenez, as long as he is at Wolves, they have a chance of getting into Europe every single season, because such a well-oiled machine behind him in midfield and defence that, you know, when he's got those kind of crosses and opportunities game after game, he's going to finish him. He's already proved that. Number 3 might cause a few issues here. I've gone for James Rodriguez. He had a silky smooth debut against Tottenham. I can already see Andy rolling his eyes at that. I love watching him play. I think he's one of those players that just has the X factor if he's fit. I mean, let's not forget how good he was in the 2014 World Cup. Okay, it was a long time ago. But when he's been fit for Real Madrid under Ancelotti, he had some incredible seasons, was named the La Liga Midfielder of the Year. Talking about getting to 20 goals, 20 assists level in La Liga and Champions League. That's not a bad player, and I think it's a major coup for Everton to get him. So, and I want to point out as well, most of his dirty work was done by Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré, who were brilliant in midfield. So Everton, pretty big on them for this season. It's early days. Number 2, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I was at Fulham, saw him score that curler, that textbook goal. Obviously signed a new contract since then. He causes chaos. The Fulham defenders, bless them, were just petrified every time he got on the ball on the left. He'd cut inside, he can go both ways, and just consistently the amount of goals he's scored since he turned up at Arsenal, he should probably be in the top 5 of these rankings each week. So and number 1, I don't think there's any real surprise here. I've gone for Mohamed Salah at Liverpool, hat-trick on the opening day. Yes, 2 of them were penalties. They're both brilliant penalties. His numbers have been consistently great as well. My main thing with Salah, I think he gets a lot of stick, maybe unfairly, because on the pitch, he comes across as being quite selfish compared to Sadio Mane or Roberto Firmino. And some Liverpool fans maybe don't warm to him as much, but he had that wonderful first season, and everyone always thinks back to that and said, oh, he hasn't quite lived up to expectations. But hang on a minute, he still scores so many goals, creates so many chances. He won the Champions League and the Premier League. So yeah, that's my top 5. Now I'm going to let you guys go at it and rip it to shreds. Is there anybody else you put in there? Anything you disagree with on the player power?
Yeah. First of all, you know who else is pretty selfish as a player? Lionel Messi. When you have a player that kind of transcends everything else, you know, within the team and just about anywhere in the world, and not saying he's quite on Messi's level, of course, but when you've got a player that can create from nothing, can create for himself, you kind of just give him the room to operate. And so I would say that's a little bit maybe, I don't know, short-sighted, or just appreciate the genius that is Mohamed Salah, I think would be the thing that I would advise those people to do. I wanted to throw a couple questions on a couple of those players to you guys. One on Raul Jimenez. More goals and assists combined this season, Jimenez or Christian Pulisic, obviously the U.S.-Mexico rivalry there, and also Aubameyang. Obviously the new contract, 31 years old though. Do either of you worry about kind of, I don't know, 12 to 15% of the weekly wage bill being given to a 31-year-old? He'll be 34 by the time the contract is finished. He's relied on the pace a lot during his career. Not to say that he's only, you know, a very, very quick striker, but it's just, that would be a little worrying for me. Let's say my club did it, I would be pretty unhappy. Now they're about to do that, something pretty similar, and so I'll be pretty unhappy then.
I would say this, Andy, on the second point. Once he ends up 3 years into that deal with Stan Kroenke's MLS team, I mean, everything will be fine. The wage bill will be washed away, and I mean, he obviously takes a lot of care over there. I worry a little bit about it. I think that's a team that was probably due to take a risk on an older player because they've invested so much in the youth. And him having the captain's armband, I'm sure a lot of that is down to ego, but clearly he's built that standing with the team. And so that's kind of the thing that pops off to me is, can you afford to lose him? And a club of that size, you can spend and have a mistake. Obviously, maybe in 3 years, we're dealing with the same thing we deal with now with Ozil talk, right? When is he going to leave? When is he going to leave? Who's going to take a salary? But he transcends that level.
Yeah, he's so influential, I think, with these younger players that Arsenal have, like Eddie Nketiah, Saka, even, Nicola Pepe isn't that old either. So there's, I think, a core of young players there that just look up to him, and he's proved his worth as a leader. And you're almost guaranteed 25 goals a season with Aubameyang right now. But you're right, Andy, it only takes one injury for him to kind of fall by the wayside. But on your other question, the Pulisic Jimenez debate, oh man.
Obviously, you have to consider the assists for it to be a little bit fairer. You think maybe Pulisic's goals drop a little bit with some of the new players coming in, but he could be 12 or 15 assists this season, right?
His assists will go up because he'll have Werner, Havertz, Ziyech. He'll have a lot more weapons there. And even when they're not playing, you've got Giroud maybe coming in if he does stay at Chelsea. So, yeah, I think it's going to be tight. I'd say Pulisic wins it by 1 on the final day of the season. And
wow. Wow. So, I like Jimenez. I like Jimenez to just nick it, whether it be through health, which, and again, I'm not knocking Pulisic, but Jimenez is proven to be year in, year out on the field an awful lot. And he chips in the assists as well. I'll stick with Wolves for the two guys I want to mention. Romain Saiss was just a monster. Yeah, great header. Intervened a couple times because Sheffield United only had Ollie McBurney was a little bit of a handful on the day, one of the only Sheffield United players to show up. So Saiss was a big deal for me. And the other player I really, really enjoyed was Callum Wilson. And if it was just me saying this, given that I love Alan Shearer and I used to love Michael Owen and I tend to like the Newcastle strikers, I would. But Andy's write-up was right. I mean, he was everywhere. He looked like a rejuvenated player. We saw it with when Andy Robertson moved from Hull. We saw it when Idrissa Gana Gueye moved from Aston Villa. Sometimes you're one of the better players on a relegated team. You get a new lease on life, and things just pop for you. And between him and Ryan Fraser, who scored in the Cup yesterday, Jeff Hendrick didn't get relegated, but, Burnley's a system we haven't seen him outside of. And, of course, Jamal Lewis looked wonderful. Maybe Newcastle did the right thing in raiding those rosters. So, yeah, I like Wilson and Romain from, oh, my goodness, loved him from Wolves.
Wilson was right on the edge of my top 5 to start with, but he moved a bit further down. So if you want to check out my full top 20 list on the player power ranks this week, head on over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com, where you can see that. Jump in the comments, give me some stick. These lads are pretty nice today, though. They pretty much agreed with my top 5, so I'll take that any day of the week.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Make sure you subscribe to watch highlights all season long and always join us every weekend at 7 a.m. on NBCSN for Premier League mornings. Plus, make sure you subscribe to Peacock Premium as well, where you can watch exclusively live 175 games and same-day on-demand replays of all 380 Premier League matches as well.